Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Books, Scars, and Purrs. My name's Leslie, and we are kicking off the second segment of my Interview with Vampire-inspired readathon. And who are we focusing on? Madeleine, also known or coined by Claudia, a weird white woman that she met at a store. Oh, okay. So if you're just as obsessed with the television series and you're new to this, I'm snooping on the shelves of different characters from the Interview with Vampire, Interview with Vampire adaptation done by AMC. And so all the prompts I'm going to create for snooping on the shelves of these different characters are based on the show. Different characteristics about them that stood out to me. So I'm going to be talking the prompts, the TBR, my book selection. I'm also going to do like a separate segment after for recommendations. Then we are all going to go on Storygraph together to show you how I create the readathon there. And then I'm going to have a YouTuber spotlight at the end. Good morning, DL. And if you're interested, just last night, I had a lovely time with DL Tillery. And I put your book on the other section. Their debut novel just came out, although they have like a slew of short stories. And it was incredible, especially if you like Interview the Vampire Chronicles. Her books are also in the same vibes, okay? Thank you for being here. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead. I already forgot which one I used. Here we go. No, then I can't see it. This is good. All right, so 7 books on Madeleine's bookshelf. Hey, early bird. Just getting started. Oh, and you know what? Guess what? I started at the end. So I made that obvious. Thank you. All right, so 7 books on Madeleine's bookshelf. Here's a TBR. So the first prompt. She engages in social taboos. So what I really wanted to do was I wanted to have Madeleine with like the soldier, but that I couldn't get a snapshot. So this is what I got. So that's the first prompt. The second one, she does not lament the past. This is a character that's been through a lot, and they just keep going. She also survived World War II, and also DL, you're getting spoiled for the show. I just realized. She's trying to survive the delusions of others, and we see that play out in what we know about the character from their flashbacks, and also what they go through during the trial. And she pushes against despair. What does she tell Claudia? She says, "So go boom," when she feels a certain way, and about how the world is functioning towards them. Entangled by a nefarious scheme. We all know where that goes. Madeleine also pursues a dangerous love, and she even tells that to Armand in so many words. And so, yes, this is actually where I started. So I gave it away right away. She engages in social taboos. She doesn't lament the past, survive World War II. She's just trying to survive the delusions of others. She pushes against despair, entangled in a nefarious scheme, and pursues a dangerous love. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go right back to the first one. Love is a great idea. Spoilers are fine. I have read all the books, so go for it. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. But you know, there's it's an adaptation, so not everything's the same. Anyways, yes. But thank you. So let me grab the books. They're on my bookshelf. If you can see it. I've been having it here. You can't quite see it because I'm just trying to not spoil what books I picked. All right, so here we are again. The first prompt is engages in social taboos. So what I'm going to do for my bookshelf that I'm grabbing from to reflect Madeleine's bookshelf is I'm going to read The Reader. This is a well-received book. I've never read it before. I think it's considered a classic and has been on my shelf for way too long. This is a book that I'm also going to buddy read, so expect to see expect to see me on a live show at the end of this month regarding The Reader. And so I'll just read the back for you. It says, hailed for its coiled eroticism and the moral claims it makes upon the reader, this mesmerizing novel is a story of love and secrets, horror and compassion, unfolding against the haunted landscape of post-World War Germany. When he falls ill on his way home from school, 15-year-old Michael Berg is rescued by Hannah, a woman twice his age. In time, she becomes his lover. She enthralls him with her passion, but puzzles him with her odd silences. Then she inexplicably disappears. When Michael next sees her, he is a young law student, and Hannah is on trial for a hideous crime. But as he watches her refuse to defend herself, Michael gradually realizes that his former lover may be guarding a secret she considers more shameful than murder. So that's going to be a great discussion. I've seen the movie already, but I still want to cover this. All right. She doesn't lament the past. All right. The book that I picked for this is The Midnight Library. I haven't read this. I actually didn't buy this. A buddy of mine bought this for me. And so I've heard mixed reviews about this book, but I'm still going to give it a go. And I hear my cats crying outside. Between life and death, there is a library. Up until now, Nora Seed's life has been full of misery and regret. She feels she has let everyone down, including herself, but things are about to change when she finds herself in the Midnight Library. She has a chance to make things right. The book in the Midnight Library enables Nora to live as if she had done things differently. Each one contains a different life, a possible world in which she made different choices that played out in an infinite number of ways, affecting everyone she knew, as well as many people she never met. With the help of an old friend, she can now undo every decision she regrets as she tries to work out her perfect life. But things aren't always what she imagined they'd be, and soon her choices placed the library and herself in extreme danger. Yes, I have seen the film and will be reading The Reader. Okay, good. This is exciting. All right, the next prompt. Madeleine is someone that survived World War II. And you know what I really love about the show is with adaptation, there's like a little bit of a shift in the timeline. And so it lands the characters here. And so to reflect survive World War II, to reflect her bookshelf and mine, I picked from my bookshelf When Books Went to War. The series that helped us win World War II. And it's by Molly Gopil Manning. I just realized I'm not saying any of the authors' names. And so on the back it says, or no, on the sleeve, I'll use the sleeve. When America entered World War II, in 1941, we faced an enemy that had banned and burned more than 100 million books and caused fearful citizens to hide or destroy many more. Outraged librarians launched a campaign to send free books to American troops and gathered 20 million hardcover donations, but something more was needed. Books that soldiers could carry in their pockets and rucksacks on bombings runs and aboard ships and every theater of a war that was waged around the globe. In 1943, the War Department and the publishing industry stepped in with an extraordinary program, 120 million small, lightweight paperbacks, extremely inexpensive and covering every conceivable subject and genre of interest in millions of servicemen. Comprising of 1,200 different titles, these paperbacks were beloved by the troops and are still fondly remembered today. Soldiers read them while waiting to land at Normandy and hellish trenches in the midst of battle in the Pacific in field hospitals. They wrote to the authors, many of whom responded to every letter. They helped rescue The Great Gatsby from obscurity. They made Betty Smith, author of A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, into a national icon. When Books Went to War is an inspiring story for history buffs and book lovers. What was the title of the second book? Oh, Midnight Library by Matt Haig. But also after sometime today, I will, if not today, tomorrow, I'm gonna, I post slides as well, and it'll be on Instagram and in like my post section, with all the details. So yeah, When Books Went to War. This is also the second selection for my live show. So, and that will be in May. At the end of May, I'm going to have a live show discussing this book. So, and that'll be on a Saturday. It's always at the end of the month. Yeah, so there you go. All right. Next prompt. I have to talk to my monitor. All right. She's surviving, or she's trying to survive the delusions of others. And again, we see that play out in two different ways for Madeleine in their past, and also in the present in the theater. And so for that book, I'm reading Lone Women by Victor Lavelle. And on the back it says, Adelaide Henry carries an enormous steamer trunk with her wherever she goes. It's locked at all times because when the trunk opens, people around Adelaide start to disappear. The year is 1915 and Adelaide is in trouble. Her secret sin killed her parents, forcing her to flee California in a hellfire rush and make her way to Montana as a homesteader. Dragging the trunk with her at every stop, she will become one of the lone women, taking advantage of the government's offer of free land for those who can tame it. Except that Adelaide isn't alone, and the secret she tried desperately to lock away might be the only thing that will help her survive the harsh territory. Crafted by a modern master of magical suspense, Lone Woman blends shimmering prose and unforgettable cast of adventurers who find horror and sisterhood in a brutal landscape and a portrait of early 20th century America like you've never seen. And at its heart is a gripping story of a woman desperate to bury her past or redeem it. So I'm excited for this one. This is another book that also has received mixed reviews, and I'm okay with it. I'm gonna try it out. All right, Madeleine pushes against despair. So a readathon would not be a readathon without some more James Baldwin. So for this prompt, I'll be reading No Name in the Street. A searing memoir and an extraordinary history of the turbulent 60s and early 70s. Known in the Streets is James Baldwin's powerful commentary on the political and social agonies of America's contemporary history. The prophecies of The Fire Next Time have tragically been realized through assassination, urban riots, and increased racial polarization. And the hope for justice seems more elusive than ever. Through it all, Baldwin's uncompromising vision and his fierce disavowal of despair are ever present in this eloquent and personal testament to his life. So I think, Lynn, I think you've read this already ahead of me, I think. But yes, I'm excited to read more James Baldwin. All right. Madeleine is entangled in a nefarious scheme. Yeah, you can never go both. Yes, the more Baldwin, the better. Okay, so entangled in a nefarious scheme. I hope this works out for the prompts. This is a new novel. I don't know a lot about it, but I read the sleeve and kind of thought this is kind of definitely going to be a book for Madeleine. Not that one. Oh yeah. You've read. We've both kind of been cross reading different books with Baldwin. Then it's got to be another one on my shelf. All right, Creation Lake by Rachel Kushner. This is also a book that I've seen not mixed reviews. Like people have just outright not liked it, and definitely have some criticism of it. This is a book I bought myself for my birthday. So I'm going through it. It's hardback. And on the inside, which it sounds good, so we'll see. Creation Lake is a novel about a secret agent, a 34-year-old American woman of ruthless tactics and clean beauty who is sent to do dirty work in France. Sadie Smith is how the narrator introduces herself to the rural commune of French subversives on whom she is keeping tabs, and to her lover, Lucien, a young and well-born Parisian she has met by a cold bump, making him believe the encounter was accidental. Like everyone she's targeted, Lucien is useful to her and used by her. Sadie operates by strategy and dissimulation based on what her contacts, shadowy figures in business and government, instruct. First, these contacts want her to incite provocation. Then they want more. In this region of old farms and prehistoric caves, Sadie becomes entranced by a mysterious figure named Bruno Lacombe, a mentor to the young activist who believes that the path to emancipation is not revolt, but a return to the ancient past. Just as Sadie is certain she's the seductress and puppet master of those she surveils, Bruno is seducing her with his ingenious counter histories, his artful laments, his own tragic story. Written in short, vaulting sections, Rachel Kushner's rendition of noir is taut and dazzling. Creation Lake is Kushner's finest achievement yet, a work of high art, high comedy, and unforgettable pleasure. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes, because it sounded incredible when I read the sleeve. All right. For the last book, the seventh one, this book I added kind of last minute. I was only going to have 6 prompts, and I probably should have stuck to that considering how crazy busy my life is, but I couldn't help myself. I saw someone talk about this book, and that was it. I can't remember who it was. Can't remember at the moment, but anyways, it's Thirst by Mariana Yutska. I still can't say the last name correctly. I'm sorry. On the back it says, "It is the 19th century, the twilight of Europe's bloody bacchanals, and a vampire must escape. She arrives to the coast of Buenos Aires, and for the second time in her life watches as villages transform into a cosmopolitan city. She adapts, intermingles with humans, and attempts to be discreet. In present-day Buenos Aires, a woman finds herself at an impasse as she grapples with her mother's terminal illness and her own relationship to motherhood. When she first encounters the vampires in a cemetery, something ignites inside the two women, and they cross the threshold from which there's no turning back. With echoes of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Thirst plays with the boundaries of the Gothic genre while exploring the limits of female agency, all-consuming desire, and the fragile vitality of even the most immortal of creatures. Doesn't that sound good, DL? I couldn't help myself. Look at that. Look at that cover. And then I read the back and I was sold. I was like, all right, I'll add one more book, even though I don't have the time. Especially since I'm such a slow reader. All right. Now, I'm learning, guys. back to the top. So those are all the books I'm definitely gonna be reading. Let me just for a hot second. Ugh. Let's see. So we got it. This is a stack. It's already making me nervous. I'm gonna probably try my best to start from like the thinnest books to the thicker books, and then, you know, of course, keep the only exceptions are going to be the books that are for the live show, right? Because then that's like on a schedule, but that's what I'm basically reading. I'm going to put them behind me. Now, for this next section, what I would like to do is just discuss some other books that, in case you don't like any of the choices I have, make your own. The prompts are for you to do what you will to grab onto your shelves. But for any reason you just want suggestions, I'm going to give us some additional recommendations. Interesting books, and I'll have to review the prompts again to see what I'll try to work in. Very nice. Again, I'm going to do a better job today. I think I'm just going to do it today. I'm going to put the prompt slides out, you know, the last two that I have, that's in summary, in the post section. And then for anyone that also has Instagram, I do that there as well. But I'm excited. DL, this sounds like a great readathon. Thank you. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. And what I do for each book review, I really just do like a short book review. And if I have to do like a little spoiler section, I will. And then at the very end, that's when I tie in how the book relates to the character. I'll reflect on, you know, why does this character have this book? Because, you know, I have the prompt, but I try to dig into what stood out to me in the situations and the prose themes of the book that I kind of teased out because now I've read the book, you know, or maybe in case that doesn't happen. All right. So we are going to discuss recommendations for the Interview the Vampire Inspired Readathon, 7 books on Madeleine Éparvier's bookshelf. And I'm pretty sure I'm saying her last name wrong. Here we go. All right. So the first one is She Engages in Social Taboos. Okay, the book that I'm going to talk about next, very briefly, this is a book that I read. I made myself finish it. It's not bad. It's the opposite. The writing is so good, but the narrative itself is like beyond the boundary that I'm comfortable with. So proceed with caution, and that is Slugs. Slugs by Megan Milks. There's some of it I'm not even sure how to talk about, but there's definitely like kinks, and some other things that I couldn't tell if it was a kink or what was going on, violence. There's a lot going on in this, and they're all short stories. And this also talks about like transformation in a way. It was all the things. If you like the writing of Chuck Palahniuk, you're going to like this. This is too much for me. It was dizzying. And so, for example, it says a woman metamorphoses into a giant slug. Another quite literally eats her heart out. A wasp falls in love with an orchid, and hair starts sprouting from the walls. These stories slip and slide between mediums, from video games to fan fiction, body horror to choose your own adventure, as characters cycle through giddy changes in gender, physiology, species, and identity. So, wild book. The wildest book I've ever read. So much so I didn't know how to rate it. So, which is another reason why I'm not a big fan of ratings, because sometimes I'm just thinking to myself, I don't even know how to discuss this book. All right, She Doesn't Lament the Past. Wait a minute. Nope. Take that back. I have one more. I forgot. It's recommendations. I have one more than book. Yeah. Yay, sounds like my kind of party. Yeah, you could probably handle that. There was a lot going on in my mind. Did I just go the other way? Yes, I did. Social taboos. I just wanted to bring up one other book, and that is The Death of Vivek Oji, I think is how you say it. Akwaeke Emezi is an incredible writer. They write all sorts of different genres. They've put out lots of books, romance, literary fiction, somewhat horror. I don't know. And this really stood out to me as a book that I genuinely love. And so if you have not stepped into Akwaeke's world, this is the time. And it says, one afternoon in a town in southeastern Nigeria, a mother opens her front door to discover her son's body wrapped in colorful fabric at her feet. What follows is a tumultuous, heart-wrenching story of one family's struggle to understand a child whose spirit is both gentle and mysterious, raised by a distant father and a compassionate but overprotective mother. Vivek Oji suffers disorienting blackouts, moments of disconnection between self and surrounding. As adolescence leads to adulthood, Vivek finds solace in friendship with the warm, boisterous daughters of the Nigerian wives, foreign-born women married to Nigerian men. But Vivek's closest bond is with Osita, the worldly, high-spirited cousin whose teasing confidence masks a guarded private life. And so this is a beautiful book that blew me away. And I thought, I got to bring this up again. All right, now for reals now. Now I'm moving on to the next one. She Doesn't Lament the Past. I brought this up recently at a book tag, and I'm bringing it up again. The Legends of Lattes, the first cozy book I've ever read. Can't believe how much I love this book. It's definitely a book, because it's a cozy read, you know, everything's going to work out, chill vibes. But if you love D&D, you're going to like this. It's about a character that's an orc, and it's kind of like after they've gone on a D&D adventure, right? And this character decides, you know what? I want to change my life. I've done enough of this fighting thing. I want to open a cafe. And so they really have to build, not just build the store from the ground up, but they have to engage with community from the ground up. And also as there's this reconstruction or this building of the cafe, that's something that I guess you could say metaphorically the character is going through as well. How do you move through life when there's a problem and you realize you can go to the same solutions that you once did? How's a different way to look at strength than the ways you've always depicted and enacted strength? That's really worked. I also write erotica, and I wrote a Rapunzel-based retelling that integrates a Native American mythical spider deity. I'm Native, so I really enjoyed writing it. It will be in an anthology. Oh, Edgins and Lattes sounds cool. It is. It's very cool. By the way, I want to read that. I'm reading it. Yeah, it's so cute. I can understand why so many people love this, but I also feel like because it's a cozy read, it's like, how do you explain that? When you pick up this book, just remember it's not action. It's not that at all, you know. survive World War II, I just wanted to make a suggestion really quick to the book that I haven't read. I've labeled this my white whale because it's been on my shelf so long and I just haven't had a chance to get to it. It's The Tunnel. Look how big that is. So daunting. One day I'll do it. One day. This is I'm just gonna read this in the back because it's I wouldn't know how to summarize it. I haven't read it yet. 30 years in the making, William H. Gass' second novel first appeared in the literary scene in 95, at which time it was promptly hailed as an indisputable masterpiece. It is a story of a middle-aged professor upon completion of his massive historic study, Guilt and Innocence in Hitler's Germany. Set out to write an introduction. Unable to do so, he finds himself writing about his own life instead, an intensely personal, even private book that runs counter to the rigidity of his work, his historical work. Isolated, he begins digging a tunnel out of the basement where he writes. Yeah, the tunnel is a thick boy. And I just can't. It's like, that's why it's been on my shelf so long, especially since I put myself on a schedule and I read one book a week. I just have not had a chance to make it happen. And last year, I had it as one of the last books to read at the end of the year, and it just didn't happen. And I put it back on my shelf, but it's not going anywhere because I'm determined to read this at some point. All right, more suggestions for She's Trying to Survive the Delusions of Others. One of them you probably heard me talk about too much, but I'm going to bring it up anyways, and that is Ngugi wa Thiong'o's Decolonizing the Mind, The Politics of Language in African Literature. I don't know why I have this sticky note on here. This is a very teeny tiny book, but it packs a punch. And if you've read any of the author's fiction or nonfiction, this is basically like the framework or the blueprint for everything that he writes. This is an author that I want to read more of. So on the back it says, he is now regarded by young generations as probably the most important contemporary writer from the African continent. He wrote his first novel and plays in English, Weep Not, Child, The River Between, Grain of Wheat, and Petals of Blood, together with plays such as The Black Hermit and The Trial of Dedan, have added luster to the English tradition. However, even before his detention without trial in Kenya during 1978, he was determined to write in Gikuyu so that ordinary people could understand his work. The novel, which he later translated into English as Devil on the Cross, became a popular success with people reading it aloud in bars. The original Gikuyu edition of the play, I Will Marry When I Want, emerged from his work with Ngugi wa Miri at the Kimimeridu Community Center, which was destroyed by Ascaris in March 1982. And so what stood out to me in this book that I'll say, if you do decide to pick it up or, grab it from your library, is that he really speaks to spaces, how spaces have been colonized and how they can be decolonized, and actually how theater can be like an act of protest in a way, right? So I will forever love this book. And I think this is also, I'm like, which one's what? Nope, I'm still on this one. Okay, I had to make sure. All right, Invisible Monster. This is also a wild book. And speaking of bringing up Chuck Palahniuk, I don't know what to say about this. This is also one of those wild books I read. So if you're interested in slugs, you'll also be interested in Invisible Monsters. Even more fun to read than the first time around because this is a remix. I'm just going to read it because I don't know how else to sum this up. Injected with new material and a topsy-turvy structure, this revised director's cut turns a daring satire on beauty and the fashion industry into an even more wild reading experience, fulfilling Chuck Palahniuk's original vision of the novel. On this thrill ride, we meet a fashion model who leads a charmed life until a sudden accident leaves her disfigured and unable to speak. Enter Brandy Alexander, Queen Supreme, who will teach her that nothing is ever quite what it seems. And this is an intensely fast-paced book, bizarre, almost teetering on I can't believe I read that. All right, Pushes Against Despair. This time around, I wanted to mix into hold on, let me catch up. Sounds like a great book. I must get a copy. Yeah, oh, yes, definitely. Invisible Monster, no. You will, I'm telling you, DL, I can't, when you read Invisible Monster, if you haven't, we gotta chat. We gotta chat. Because it's incredible. Lynn, I absolutely have to get around to reading books by Guyo Atengo. None of my libraries, but I'll check the university library. Yes, there's one book, I think I've talked about it before, his nonfiction. It's kind of more a memoir that I haven't read yet. And I'm just like, I think I'm just going to have to, I might have to get a copy because I'll slow read it. But I really want to read about his time in jail because he said the book that he's more well known for that I've read, he said that they wouldn't give him paper, so he just used their toilet paper because the toilet paper there is like rough. And so I just admire that there's this person, and no matter what space or like circumstances people put him in, he was just like, "You're not going to stop me. I'm in jail because of a play. I'm going to keep writing my plays." I thought that's like the most badass thing. Okay, so pushing against despair. This is a manga. I don't read manga or manga that often, and I want to read more. But this book happened to really steal my heart. It's so sweet, and it's my brother's husband. It is so cute. So this is, oh no, this is a brother. This is the husband. His brother passed away, so he's a widower and comes to Japan to spend some time with the family. And so we kind of just see how we get to explore this family bonding together. There's like a little bit of like cultural differences as well, and as well as the brother of the brother of the deceased kind of still grappling with looking back and realizing he wasn't really as supportive as he should have been to his brother who was gay, and also discusses how I guess in the Japanese culture how it's still taboo, or at least when this comic came out. That's also what the author is exploring because the author is also gay, and so it's just like a family mending and mourning, loving each other, and also just pushing past despair, but like through their connection. And I thought it was really, really beautiful. Yeah. This is honestly like one of the cutest covers. And I'm not getting rid of this. I'm just going to return to it. This is definitely going to be a book I return to again and again because it's very sweet. Just, yeah. So cute. It's a very touching story, and I zipped through it because it was so good. All right, Entangled by a Nefarious Scheme. My book recommendation will be The Color of Law. Steph from Coffee Over Apples did a review of this book, and she's really great at creating condensed breakdowns, gets right to the point more than I do because I'm more of a meandering type. But this is a book I haven't read yet, but I think it fits well into this prompt. A Forgotten History of How Our Government Segregated America by Richard Rothstein. And so on the back it says, heralded as a masterful Washington Post and essential by Slate, History of the Modern American Metropolis. The Color of Law is a groundbreaking investigation into how U.S. government in the 20th century deliberately imposed racial segregation on metropolitan areas nationwide. Lauded by Ta-Nehisi Coates for his brilliant and fine understanding of the machinery of government policy, Richard Rothstein has painstakingly documented how our cities from San Francisco to Boston become so divided, and kind of goes on from there. But I have that one, gonna get to that soon. Yeah, it's gonna be a while for me, as you know. But again, it's like one of those books that's on my shelf, and I'm just thinking, I need to get to it. Dangerous Love. Okay, so this is the last prompt, and I'm gonna have to expand myself here to make this work because it's too many. This is just a recommendation. I do not expect everyone to go out and like buy all these. I would say go to your library. But I did want to keep suggesting a little more comics into the mix, and I would say Saga, because I have all, I think 11 of them right now. 11. If you are not a comic book reader, you're gonna love Saga. If you are a comic book reader, you're gonna love Saga. This is, in short, I think the go-to way to describe this is Star Wars, galactic soap opera meets Romeo and Juliet type thing. And so we have these two characters on the cover, the very first one. Sorry, Matt, I still have that up. Alana and her husband. My brain is fried. I can't think of anyone's name. Alana and Marco. They are from different planets, and their planets are the original ones that started a war. And the war it's never ended, and it's gone so bad that other planets are involved. So now there's this intergalactic proxy war. And so there's been like a whole generation of people that have gone through this. And what happens with that? Propaganda. So Marco was a prisoner. She was a soldier. They fall in love. And they also fall in love with their connection of literature, actually. And so this is actually for anyone that also has kids or has been a parent or guardian in any capacity, because this is also an outlet for the author to talk about parenting stuff. He feels like he can't talk to other people that don't have kids, you know? And so they fall in love, and they are on the run because this relationship cannot last. The powers that be that want this politicking and war to continue cannot let people know that actually if these two people, for instance, sleep together, they could actually have kids because of propaganda. Anything to do with war and like the machinations of war, the machinery, what do you call it? The spoke on the cog that continues is discussed in this series as well. And it blows me away. Anything this author writes, actually, Brian K. Vaughan is incredible. And I wish he would get more shine. So yeah, that is my last suggestion, I believe. I don't think I have anything else for that. So yes, here are the prompts again. And here are all the books that I'm going to be reading. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any other suggestions, that would be lovely. I just finished 2 books by Simone Sollenhag, Tales from the Loop and Things from the Flood. Well, there isn't much to read. More incredible artwork. Yeah. Let me know how you like that. What is that one about? I'm trying to remember why I have these books here. I have all this stuff everywhere. All right. So we've gone through the bookshelves, prompts, recommendations. Now the next segment is going to be Storygraph. So I'm just going to add the readathon live in case, not just for me, but if anyone wants to know how to do that in Storygraph, you'll know how to do that now. And you know what? Let's see if I even remember how to do that. My cats are crying up a storm, so I am going to go ahead and open up. Can you hear them? They are so naughty. Hold on one second. Okay. Come on. They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna start moving things around. I know it. Yeah, they will push themselves in. And by the way, I'm on a swivel chair. So what happens is sometimes when I have my foot out, Ginger will keep pushing she'll push her head, her whole body against my foot. And before you know it, I'm swiveling back and forth. And it's not because I'm trying to, it's her. She's doing it. It's a mess. I like them. The artwork is mesmerizing. I'm going to check out the movies at some point. It takes place in Sweden. Okay, cool. You can still hear her. That's my girl. All right. Can you see how I don't know what I'm doing? All right. I kind of want to make it bigger, but there we go. This is better. All right. Sorry, even I'm trying to remember right now. Oh my God, stop. My cat. Here's the other one. Here's 8 books on Louis de Pointdulac's bookshelf if anybody wants to do it. What do I do? Browse? Oh my God, stop, Ginger. Browse, create new. And what kind of challenge I want to do? Prompts. So I'm going to do nope, it won't let me. Hold on. What's today? I'm not going to put that. One. I want to kick her out, but I know if I do that, she's going to meow even louder. So this is where I'm at. Okay. I'm making it public because last time I didn't do that. So I'm going to mark join challenge. I'm not going to do all of them here, but what you can do is once you get here, you can add a book. Engages in social taboos. Let me see if this works. The book came up. Books you've added, so it's going to be there. Now I look and I can see it here. There's challenge prompts and it's here. And then you could just keep adding books. So in case you have Storygraph and you do this, you could add your book and it's just going to create a whole bunch of books that people could see and to add. So there we go. Sorry, I was reading the comments for a second. I like them. The artwork is mesmerizing. Gonna check out the movie at some point. It takes places. Oh yeah, yeah, Metaworld. Yeah, I saw that. She's too adorable. Yes. Take her. I'll ship her over there. This is cool. Thank you for sharing all the details on how to. Yeah, it's definitely, it took, you know what, it even took me right now a second, but the first time when I first did it, I had no clue. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I thought it'd be helpful. So now that we're done there, also I will say I'm not gonna show it because I don't want to take up too many. Should I? I'll do one. I'll do the reader. Actually, I'll show you. Let me go to my home. Oh no, I have to add it. Hold on. It's in my to read pile. Where is it? Start a read along. I'm gonna start a read along, and I'm gonna do this for every book. So I'll have a read along, and I'll put it for usually like the 2-month period. I could do that for all the books. So even though we're doing a readathon and you're just kind of keeping track that you're doing it and completing it, what the read along will do is it's basically like creating a chat environment in Storygraph. So I'm going to take care of that for every single book. And so as people read it, they could go in there and make comments. And I could make comments based on like each chapter, and everyone could just add their thoughts to it as we go along, and it'll appear to them as they're done, because there's also an option when you're reading the book to actually mark where you're at. You like track your progress but I have to put red for you to see it, or not red, but currently reading. And then you could track progress here. And then let's say you put page like, I don't know, 40 or whatever. And so that will unlock you being able to see whatever the chapters I've made comments on and or whatnot. So I'm gonna have to change that. But that is definitely, oh my God, you know what? I'm not sharing it with you. Hold on. I totally forgot. This whole time I thought I was sharing it. I'm sorry. So yeah, so I went to the book. I marked it as currently reading as I would a book. And then I marked track your progress. And then so when you do this, I'm gonna unlock the read along for you, so that you'll be able to see all the different comments for each chapter. We'll see how we do it, but that's kind of how I've been handling it, and that's been really nice. Lynn, we'll trade my two for your two. Gonna be tariffs on them possibly. Oh goodness. I'll have to smuggle them in. Come on, girls. This Tariel. Say hi, Tariel. All right. So the last segment. Oh my god, sorry. Could you? This is why I put them in here. As long as they're near me, they're, they're good. Then they settle down. Sorry, I'm messing this up. All right, so for my very last segment, I just wanted to highlight some YouTubers. This is like my YouTuber spotlight. This is just my chance to shout out all the different channels that I'm enjoying currently. And it's not just booktube, it's just I enjoy criticism. So whether it's literary or film, I'm all for it. So I'm going to stop sharing screen with that. Oh yeah, I guess we'll start with Zach. Zach is a booktuber, and I just recently came across him. I don't know how. I think maybe it came in the algorithm, and he's just such a delight. He reads books, comics, and manga. Most of the books I've reviewed are classified under the fantasy or sci-fi genre. And so he does do like singular, but then sometimes he'll have more like concept of grouped ones. I recently enjoyed him talking about the top 10 comics of all time for now. Was really a lot of fun. And he definitely has Saga in here. So I know he's my vibe. He's my vibe. And the next one, oh, I guess we'll discuss Naomi next. I've known Naomi, but from their Instagram, and they did have a YouTube, but I think it was a bit dormant. They weren't like actively using YouTube for their booktube or their bookish content, and so now they're yeah, new people to follow, definitely. So now I just started watching their YouTube segments. They are, let me see, an Indigenous book creator who reads all genres. One of my favorite genres is horror, or their favorite genre is horror. And they focus on books by Indigenous authors. So I definitely think you would enjoy checking them out. I've already watched plenty of theirs. They had a woman in horror panel, which I clearly have not seen yet, but I got to get back to that. Um, and so, yeah, I think that you'll enjoy. And they're very, very quick. She's always been a joy. But yeah, DL, I think you're really going to enjoy because they do focus on horror. And then there's two other channels. I don't remember if I've discussed them before, so I apologize if this is redundant. But you know what? I enjoy their company. Drunk Banthas is with a group of gentlemen that okay, so here's a little thing about myself. I have a brother that's like 2 years older than me, and so he used to always have to drag me wherever he went. So I'm used to like spending time with a group of guys, I guess you could say. Like I'm used to that environment. So they just have me cracking up. They do have film, television critiques, but they're very chatty, just some buddies hanging out. So they meander. They meander the kind of more so than I do, and I enjoy their company. I usually tune in on a Thursday. They also have Tuesday and other days. Tuesdays and Thursdays seems to be like their focus. But yeah, I enjoy them. I enjoy their not literary, what am I saying? Their film criticism and their television criticism. They just have like a lot to say and dig into. And so there it's definitely like that fandom culture, right? And so they even have does it hold up segments, which I really like. I do have a membership. I think their membership's only like 99 cents. It's very cheap. And so in doing so, they're making it accessible to everybody. So I really enjoy the does it hold up segments because they're digging into kind of like my generation's because they're around my age movies of the past and was it as great as you really thought it was? So there's this nostalgic piece to it while it's also a critique. And they just have me really giggling. They have a great sense of humor that I'm just really enjoying. So just very sweet guys. Um, and lastly, sorry, my voice is really going. Is 900 yards. I'm bringing up nine because he's also does pop in and out of drunk banthas. And so I see him more there than I do his own channel. But he also does a lot of like just film television criticism. But I always enjoy his take and he also we kind of chat on the side because he also likes to read quite a bit. And so selfishly I'm hoping that at some point I'll have him as a guest for my interview the vampire segment. Okay, watch Swarm was crazy wild. Um and so yeah, I don't know, he's very insightful. That I'll say that. Here's Ginger. I can't get anything done around here. um Girls. Okay. I'm sorry. This is so awkward. I'm having to end this. All right, everyone. That was basically the end of my segment. I'm very excited to launch this second part. Sorry, I'm dealing with Ginger in my way. I wish you could see. I can't right now. I can't. But they're a mess. Yeah. Thank you both for tuning in the chaos that is my channel and my cats. Um, I hope that you participate. I love doing this. This is a great way to keep this show alive. It's definitely the type of show that has like a cult following rather than um, commercial success. So, in doing so, it's a way for me to really promote literacy, promote reading books that are on my shelf, but also just keep us engaged and keep like the narrative of the show alive because it's so good and I just want it to continue and I don't want it to be canceled like all these other great shows. Lynn, thanks, Lizzie. That was fun. See you, Dale. Yeah, thank you both. And I will see you soon. Happy reading, everyone. Life is chaos. Be kind.